everyone. Namaste. Good evening. This is Ekktaa. I see if I'm audible, visible to you all. Internet issue going on. Check from you guys if you could hear me, if you could see me. Yeah, it's Friday evening, and yes, I'm here again with one more wonderful session. So I look forward to just hear from you if you could hear me clearly. Perfect. Very well. So a warm welcome to you all today. So let me quickly start. I welcome you all to another session of Mental Health Matters. So before we move ahead, I would first like to tell you more about us. Who are we? What do we do? So, we are Tavamitram. Tavamitram is a Sanskrit word for your friend. It's a non-profit initiative, that aims at raising mental health awareness across the globe. So, Tava-Mitram, this idea took shape in 2016 and was founded in the year 2019, roughly around 15th of March 2019 by Dr. Paris and me. At present, we have a team of around 60 members who act as Mitra coaches and volunteers. And the aim of this platform is to create congruency in thinking, feeling, and action. This year, in the month of May 2020, we launched a knowledge-based video series that is My Mental Health, My Priority, that aims at spreading knowledge across the globe at no cost. Let me tell you, it gives me an immense pleasure to tell you that we have so far reached more than 6,000 plus registrations across the globe, and the participation still continues. We are still counting. So thank you so much for all your immense support and showing trust in Tava-Mitram. So in October 2020, that is, we have World Mental Health Day tomorrow. So for the entire month of October, Tava-Mitram is running a campaign. This campaign has a series of panel discussions, and what we are looking at different aspects of healing. So we invite various people from different backgrounds, and we have come up with certain topics that can help us, address various issues. At the same time, we can come up with how can we heal differently. And let me tell you what, today is another interesting topic. Let me just go and connect with the universe there. The universe, Mother Earth, has given us abundance of resources, that could help us take care of our emotional health, of our mental health. So Tava-Mitram came up with one of the interesting topics for mental well-being. And the topic is healing with animals, our earthly therapist. So, while I was doing a research on this, I came across a wonderful quote by Anatole France, and it goes, "Until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened." So today we have a unique set of panel members who, from their experience, would let us know how can animals help us heal in many ways. So let me first introduce you to one of our panel members, and let me first get her in the room. And I can see, yes. So we have Medha along with us. Hi Medha, welcome, namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Ekktaa, for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks, Medha. So let me quickly tell you more about Medha. Medha is a psychotherapist and a solution-focused mentor in Pune and Mumbai. Her life is devoted to support her clients in self-awareness and their exploration of unexplored potential and change. She lives in India from past 15 years and shares a deep appreciation for our culture riches and the diversity of esoteric scriptural studies. Her love of meditation, animals, and nature keeps her engaged in learning and sharing the flame to others. Let me tell you, when I personally connected with Medha, I could feel the heart-to-heart connect. So thank you for joining, Medha. Thank you for joining us on the panel today. Warm welcome to you from Tava-Mitram.
Thank you, Ekktaa.
All right. So let me go and introduce you to the panel. Let me get him in the room. Hi, Pranav. A warm welcome to
Hi,
you. Namaste.
hi everyone. Namaste. Thank you, Ekktaa, for giving me the opportunity to be part of this wonderful session and looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So, Pranav, it gives me an immense pleasure to introduce you. So, Pranav is someone who is extremely down to earth, approachable, and easy to connect. He has been a pet lover ever since he was a kid. He has grown up with dogs. He shares memorable bonds and memories with his dog, Rocky. Let me tell you, Pranav is an IT professional working in the industry for past 12 years. His work takes him across the globe and he loves exploring different cultures and food. Let me also tell you, Pranav is an avid blogger, sports enthusiast, and passionate about musical instruments. So, Pranav, thank you for joining us today and warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Ekktaa. Thank you.
Oh, I can hear something. Who's a woof? Okay, so let me also introduce you to our next panel member and let me get her in the room. Hi, Advocate Komal. Namaste to you. Warm welcome.
Hi, Ekktaa. Namaste. Hello, everybody. I believe other than us talking about animals and healing, I think animals themselves are also going to talk on this
Yes,
platform today.
absolutely. I see that they also want to contribute on the panel. So this
I'm
is
really happy that I'm a part of this discussion today, and I hope that I'm able to convey my thoughts and may it help people somewhere and they are able to connect somewhere with Mother Nature.
absolutely. Thanks, Komal. So, Komal, I'm going to give an introduction here, and I call your introduction as a power-packed one. So, in law from University, Mumbai. He believes that a unique blend of an animal activist and a leader fortifies her endurance to combat animosities between society and animals. She harmonizes between human sector and animal their interrelationship by virtue of engaging in diversion and other welfare activities. She encourages folks to be amicable and congenial exist in nature. So, Komal, thanks for joining us today and warm welcome to you on this panel from Tava-Mitram.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so can we just put ourselves on mute and not talking so that we get more clarity? Thank you. Can I move ahead? So I would request each of you panel members to let us know your area of interest, contribution to community in brief. Maybe 2 minutes each. We can start with you, Pranav. Then we can move on, and then we can move on to Komal if you don't mind. So
Sure.
over to you, Pranav.
Just a request, Ekktaa, can we just put all, everybody else on mute? So
Yeah,
that,
I was just about to say, Medha and Komal, if you could go on mute while Pranav is talking. Pranav, good to go. We can start.
yeah, okay. So I think, as I mentioned, right, I mean, this is, first of all, thank you, Ekktaa, for giving me this opportunity. I think, this topic especially is extremely close to me, close to my heart. And, I'm happy that, I'm able to share some of my experiences with the community here, because I think, it's a really thought-provoking aspect, right, which all of us can think about, right? I mean, given our day-to-day routines, the stress and the kind of environment we live in, I think it's many times difficult to just sit back and take a note, right, as to what all things we can learn from our surroundings. And this is an extremely important aspect, which I feel if really thought about, can bring about a tremendous sea of change in how we look at life, and how we look at emotions and handle different tough situations that life throws at us. So animals being part of, as and I think the tagline is immense, right? I mean, healing with animals, are earthly therapists. I think what a wonderful tagline to have, and that itself is essentially thought provoking, because it helps us to realize that we are not in this all alone. I think we have tremendous support if we look outside of ourselves, or outside of our typical circle. And there are tremendous learnings to be had outside the human race. And what better way to learn than essentially looking at other fellow living beings on this particular planet, which we essentially call ourselves home. It's as much as part of our lives as to what they are, right? So we can learn tremendously from animals, and with a keen eye, I'm sure people can essentially understand the simple things that they do, or they essentially follow in their lives, which we can also adopt and help ourselves individually or as a community. So that's I think it's a great learning, I would say, platform, or a learning mechanism for all of us to understand and learn more about ourselves, and simply take a note as to how we can lead our lives. It becomes difficult in our day-to-day lives, but I think we have to somewhere take a step back and understand what more we can do, or what unique ways we can actually implement to help ourselves. Ultimately, we are all in this together. So.
Absolutely, I love the Pranav for that wonderful contribution. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me bring on Medha. Medha, so please go ahead and introduce and tell us more about your share of contribution to the community, please.
Well, I want to tag on Pranav that we're all in this together, and completely agree. I think this pandemic and this transformation that has flooded everybody's lives is having such an impact, and we're needing the basics more than ever. Basics such as our value systems need to be evaluated, our relationships with nature, the environment, animals, and that we really are in this together. And the cohabitation or coexistence cannot be defined separately anymore. And we are looking at this on this platform today, and I really hope that our exploration is supportive to each other and brings insight and motivation, where people understand how important accountability is for ourselves, for our four brethren, for nature, and that we walk together forward. And I see this platform that we're contributing today at Ekktaa as an opportunity to share our voice on behalf of the voiceless. So thank you.
Thanks. That was really powerful, about contributing on behalf of the voices. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Medha. So I want to quickly move on to Komal, if I can get her in the room. I'm not sure if I'm able to get Komal here. Looks like there's an internet connectivity issue. All right, so let's see if Komal could join us. So let's move on with our discussion. So we have a lovely audience out here, and we can see many people have said hi. So Shalaka has said hi to you, Pranav. Hi, Nikhil. Pranav, you can say hi back to Janvi and Shalaka.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining.
Okay, so hi Nikhil, hi Kalpana, hi Janvi ji, hi Shalaka. So here's a quick one for the audience, and I'm going to put this question, I'm going to ask audience a question. Audience, I would request you to let us know your views, your answers on these questions, and if you could participate, it will help the panel members, to associate with your thoughts as well. So here goes the first question to the audience. Do animals really help us heal? So here's a quick question for the audience, and let me put that on the screen. Do animals really help us heal? So maybe you can give an answer in yes or no. Let me see if the answers are... Okay, so we have someone, Devdat Golak, who has said to you, hi to you, Medha.
Hi, Devdat.
So here's a question on the screen to our audience. Quickly reply in yes or no. Do you feel, audience, do animals help us heal? What is your take, Pranav? What is your take, Medha? Either yes or no.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely.
Well, that's such a bang-on confidence. I know.
It's a resounding yes from us. So.
Absolutely, I can see that. Okay, so Devdat has mentioned yes. For example, dogs are great to cure stress and bring positivity. Thank you so much, Devdat. We also have Gauri who said hi and she has replied yes. Thanks, Gauri. Thanks, Devdat, for your response. Let me move on to the next question. And the next question goes, one emotion or feeling that you could relate when you think of animals or pets. So maybe a quick question here. One emotion or one feeling that you could relate when you think of animals or pets. Let me see what our audience has to say. Thanks, Kaustubh. That yes, definitely, I believe is the answer for the first one. So let me go ahead and type this question on the screen so that our audience can go ahead and relate. One emotion and feeling that you could relate when you think of animals and pets. I have typed this question on in the chat as well, and you can see it on the screen. Hi, Kaustubh. Good evening. So I have an answer. If you could see in the chat, Gauri has mentioned consistency. What about you, Pranav? What about you, Medha? If you have to relate one emotion that you could relate when you think of pets or animals.
Medha, you can start.
I would say that change.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that the change that happens inside of me, being around my dogs. I have two beautiful indie dogs, Sasha and Lulu. And I learn a lot myself through them.
Sure.
So change, yes.
Thanks for that, Medha.
Yeah, I think for me it's the unconditional love, right? I mean, no matter what state you are in, what's the situation around, the unconditional love that we get from our pets is something unique which we really can't express in any other form. So that's something which really hits me and gives me comfort. So yeah, I think unconditional love is something that comes right to the top of my mind.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we have lovely answers from the audience. Thanks for that, Pranav. Thanks, Medha. We have Chinmay saying kindness. We have Devdat saying unconditional love. We have Kaustubh saying unconditional love. We have Gauri said, oh, Gauri, I'm sorry I said that consistency. It's constancy. That is faithfulness. Thank you so much. So let me move on to our first question, panelists. Can I go ahead and can we start the panel discussion?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
So here's the first one. What are the emotional benefits social benefits and physical benefits being around animals. And the same question I would request the audience also, if you want to relate and give us your replies in the comments, we would love it. So Pranav, we can begin with you, then we can move on to Medha and then Komal.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Ekktaa. So I think a very important question, right? I mean, as Medha highlighted earlier, the times that we are living in today, they just, make this question even more important. And, it's very important to, understand what we can essentially, get out of, or, by being around with animals. I think, a thought, which just came to my mind right as we were discussing, right? I mean, I know, we say, right? I mean, human beings are selfish animals, right? I mean, we are selfish living beings. But I think today, if you really ask me, I think, it's okay to be selfish, because there's times that we have, really make us wonder how we can learn from animals around us to guide us through and take us through this difficult period. And as discussed earlier, I think I've been personally very fortunate to have spent time with during some of my most challenging times in my life in the company of my pet dog, whose name was Rocky, as Ekktaa highlighted earlier. And I've been very fortunate right from my childhood to have spent majority of my time with pets. So Rocky, I think he was truly my best friend and a loyal companion. And especially during my college days when I used to stay alone, as my parents were living in a different town, he was my sole companion. And thick and thin, he essentially stayed with me like a loyal friend. And there are so many learnings which I actually realized maybe a little too late, when I lost him. That's when I realized more than ever as to how good a friend and how loyal companion and friend he was to me, because the compassion, the love, the support I got from him. Typically we relate these feelings or these emotions with human beings, but they are in no way different when we talk about our pet animals. And he was a single constant in my life back then, which was a true strength of inspiration and support. So the topic that we have today, right? I think healing with animals is something which is tremendous, because people who actually experience that realize that the healing process is far easier and faster when you have someone who will be there no matter what. And with their unconditional love and affection, they are true stress busters during such times. So just to come back, coming back to the question, right? I mean, what kind of emotional benefits or social benefits, or even for that matter, physical benefits we can, extract by being around animals? I would just list down a few. I'm sure there are plenty, but these are some things which kind of popped up as some of the most important ones which I have experienced over the past 30 years by being around with pets. First and foremost, I think what they really teach us is consistent behavior. I think socially, when you look at how we interact with people, right, or the kind of emotional up and downs humans are typically prone to, because ultimately emotions is what makes us humans. Now, of course, we don't say that animals don't have emotions, but when we speak about humans, that's what essentially differentiates us. So, and one of the key things for anybody to be socially, I wouldn't say successful, but socially comfortable is by ensuring that they are consistent throughout their behavior. So I think that's one of the most important aspects that one can implement in their lives. Animals, especially domestic ones, like dogs, they show exemplary levels of consistent behavior. No matter the situation around, how you behave with them, right? They are there for you no matter what. And this, of course, should never be taken for granted. Like with the case of any human being, right? I mean, we never like to be taken granted, or we should take granted when it comes to other people. But the point that I'm trying to make is, in social scenarios, one can help themselves and others by displaying consistent behavior. throughout their lives, because ultimately we don't want people to be driven away, just because they are always second guessing on how you will react or behave, on a daily basis. So that's, I think, a very important learning we can get from animals. There are a lot of people who struggle socially, right? I mean, there's no two ways about it that not everybody is comfortable around being, with people. So this is an important aspect which we need to implement. Second thing is, I think, living in the moment, right? I'm sure, I'm going to talk more about it, or we are going to discuss more about it later. But I think that's one thing, if we crack this code as individuals in life, I think, then I would say, we have achieved the ultimate state one can really be in. Of course, it's a difficult concept. It's a difficult thing to implement, but that's something which animals actually teach us. Especially pets. The people who have had the fortune to spend time with pets. I'm sure you would have experienced this. So living in the moment is, something which we really need to think about and try and implement. It's a difficult task, but I'm sure, if we really take it up, we can really do it. Third thing, as we pointed out earlier, right? I think love can be unconditional without any expectations. So as I mentioned, right? I mean, we are all emotional creatures. Emotions is what drives us. But ultimately, when we look at animals, love is something which we associate tremendously with humans. We love at different stages in our lives. But I think what's important is the unconditional aspect of it. And unfortunately, human beings are not that great when it comes to unconditional love. We can kind of display those emotions, but I think unconditional love is something which we can learn from animals. Some other things which I have learned over the past few years are essentially dogs have an inherent ability to calm us down with their demeanor. So we have people in the room who have had pets. I think and we all can essentially unanimously agree that their demeanor is such that they are so calm. They are with us all through the thick and thin, and that's something which we can definitely learn from. Another very important thing, I think, in today's day and age, especially the tough times that we are going through, is essentially realizing that there is someone in your life who is dependent on you. So dogs, especially, they are so dependent on us. That when you are around your pets, or for that matter, animals, what you realize is that they are so dependent on you. Typically, that essentially teaches us, is that it is in itself worthy enough to live for, right, during such trying times. I mean, we have unfortunately seen tough, stories come out from different industries in the past few months. How people have taken this entire period, I would say, in a very difficult way, right? So what we really need to understand is, people are there, who are dependent on us, be it emotionally, physically, and so on. And dogs or animals simply depict it in the best possible manner. So it's simply not worth or right to cave into external pressures just because the times are tough. I think that's something which we all need to learn from. So I think these are a few things. I'm sure Medha and Komal have their side and their share of stories to tell. But I think these are a few things which I feel we can tremendously learn from and benefit when it comes to how animals can teach us in terms of emotional benefits or social benefits that we can derive from them. So what do you, Ekktaa?
Thanks, Pranav. That was really good. I'll now quickly move on to Medha. Let me get her home. Over to you, Medha.
Pranav, I loved how you emphasize that we don't give in to the pressure of the times, that we use this as leverage to take up the challenge. And I was contemplating about the physical aspects of support that animals give us and how they benefit us. And how do you feel when you're treated well? How do you feel when you are respected, when you are cared for, when you are loved? when you're forgiven. And dogs and animals, but I'm going to focus at the moment. When they're treated well, they will make you smile. They are eternally loyal. I mean, there's so many stories of people who have done acts of kindness and rescued an animal, rescued a dog, and rescued a lion, and people come back later, and the animal never forgets, which I think is a remarkable quality of the power of connection that animals share amongst each other, and that we're learning from them. So there's umpteen ways to engage our minds and hearts onto animals and receive immediate benefits. I know somebody who has fish and actually does fish meditation to lower his blood pressure. This individual is very intellectual, and through his therapist, he was guided to use fish meditation, and it's having tremendous impact and change on his life. We all know that dogs are the most amazing companions for all activities, from sitting in front of the television, going on hikes, lovingly waiting for you when you come out of the toilet. And did you know, actually, this is an interesting fact, that you know why dogs do that? It's because when we're considered their alpha leaders, and when you disappear like that, they get really concerned. So there's an actual logic behind it, which is quite sweet. Have you ever seen those videos of people sleep, and they've got their little pug on the bed with them? And there's one video that I saw, a CCTV of a couple who had two pugs, and they did a time lapse through the whole entire, and the dogs were so rambunctious and running around and playing, but the owners never shoot them away. They obviously loved having the dogs sleep with them, but that's what that dogs give us, is that they are proven to lower blood pressure. They create a sense of security and intimacy. So pets are like, especially dogs, they're like toddlers that stay 4 years old for the rest of their lives. Even they have a vocabulary very similar to a very young child. So dogs will always be a source of inspiration and support. Actually, today, a friend of mine was telling me a story of his cat, Lakshman, and he was in a deep sleep, this friend, he said, and he sensed something in his sleep touching his shoulder, and then he could hear himself snoring, and the cat again put his paw on her, and this time put more weight on his shoulder. And my friend said that he still didn't come out of sleep, and the cat placed his body on him and pressed his paws and his whole body on him to wake him up. And he realized that the cat was concerned for him. So there's so many examples of how animals are looking to connect and engage with us. And we can continue the subject. I'd like to offer it over to Komal now, if she's back in the room with us. Ekktaa?
Sure. I really loved the mention about fish meditation. That is something really different that I heard today. Thank you so much for sharing. So let us hear from I now, and you can see us.
Yes, finally. Hello. I'm back.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, Komal, we are, discussing a wonderful question, and you can see the question on the screen. What are the emotional benefits, social benefits, physical benefits being around animals? and we look forward to hear your views.
Thank you for the question, Ekktaa. I've heard Pranav speak and then Medha also throw light upon a few social and emotional benefits. I would want to highlight more over the physical benefits that a person would have, a human being has when they associate with animals. I want to start by saying, um, animals are very, very disciplined in nature. If you observe, or if any who has could observe that an animal or a dog or even a cat, they have time which is fixed for everything. For example, they have fixed timing of food, and it's not something that they would have to look at a clock and then say, that this is, oh, it's 3 o'clock, it's time for me to eat food. No, they naturally, this is the time, and this is my regular routine, and I'm supposed to eat. Secondly, if you see, you have their playtime, and that is also not at random. They have, for example, a dog has a regular routine that it follows where it would walk. If you see, when animals are so blinded by nature, there is so much to learn them. We, being humans, understand time, we understand the importance, and they are right in front of us. There is so much that we can adapt from them in terms of keeping ourselves physically fit. Also, see, I, as a person, because of the pandemic, now I'm working from home, but I've been quite occupied outside. So now, since I'm home, on earth I'm doing, my dog is going to look at my face at him at night. We need to go. I have to take her. So she is disciplined. She is disciplined. So that is one benefit that I have experienced personally with my ground. Secondly, I would also want to highlight that being fit is obviously connected to mentally. So only when you're physically healthy, when you're physically strong, could you connect and could you mentally also be fresh, energetic. For which, again, I would want to go back. Animals ensure that they take rest. Always not play, it's always not fun, it's always not food, but yes, rest. And it is very, very essential for us humans too. I think humans ensure around the clock. So I think this is something that we should learn from animals for us to remain healthy, to live a longer and a stronger life. A little rest also your hygiene. If you observe cats on the road or people who have cats, they would always keep grooming themselves. Why? Because they ensure that they are hygiene. Important thing for them, they are hygienic, and that is something that we also need to adapt. That hygiene, your regular exercise, eating on time, eating just the required amount, also taking rest. These are the benefits that I would want from my animal buddies. Thank you.
We can't hear you, Ekktaa.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much. Maybe I was on mute. I'm sorry. So, Komal, just to relate to what you said, I really love the fact that you spoke about, the discipline aspect, and as well as how physical and mental fitness is connected. So that was really, really beneficial. And the fact that you mentioned about, being hygienic, because that's the need of the hour. This pandemic has been telling us, wash your hands, be really, really careful about your hygiene. So thank you so much. That was really a profound discussion. Move on to the next question. I have a wonderful one for you all. Are we all set?
Ekktaa, if I may just add a couple of words to what Komal said.
Sure.
I know we have, yeah. So I think some excellent points made there, and I have experienced those things, especially the discipline part, right? I think whatever she just described, right? I could easily visualize it when I used to be with my dog. So the way they go through their daily routine, right? It's just so tremendous to see, and we as humans, especially in today's day and age, where we are so distracted, we have so many distractions, things to take care of. We really cannot, imbibe that disciplined nature in our lives. So I think an excellent point made, Komal. Thank you for sharing it with the audience.
Thanks for that.
They teach us how to listen.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Let's quickly move on to our next question, because this is a real interesting one and very much connected to our topic, that is mental health matters. And this question goes: how do animals help us cope with difficult emotions like grief, stress, anxiety, and depression? I repeat, and I would like to bring this question on the screen so that you guys will also get an idea. How do animals help us cope with difficult emotions like grief, stress, anxiety, and depression? I would request the audience, if you also would want to simultaneously reply in the comment section, we would love to hear from you. And from panel members, I would request Medha, why don't you start, and followed by Komal and Pranav, please.
Sure. Well, I just want to keep picking up the theme that is coming up in the discussion so far, is the obvious parallel of this point of change that we're all facing as a global community. And one of the most powerful ways for us to walk through this time to heal emotionally, physically, mentally is our relationship with nature. And I feel that nature is also beckoning us to pay attention. There's so much evidence everywhere to reevaluate our goals, our values, and to align with our internal self. And we are needing to do this now. We cannot delay. I was watching recently a David Attenborough documentary. Actually, he's 93 years of age, and he has just brought out a magnificent video that's actually heartbreaking and concerning. So I'm so glad we're taking the time to, on our level, it's all of our levels of contribution are important. It doesn't matter who we are, where we are, what our careers are. We all need to pay attention. So the collective consciousness today is presenting a worrying dichotomy. But the good news is that nature is a very powerful way for us to turn and heal. Animals model benevolent behaviors. Benevolent. They're so pure. They don't carry their stories with them. They don't freeze in time something that happened to them. They move on, and they are one with their nature. So they do model benevolent behavior. And if you've ever watched a pregnant mother with her dog, and how the dog is so protective, the dog lays its head on the mother's belly, and the dog understands her condition. The dog understands what's happening to her. Even you look on any Facebook and see the relationship at the zoo. A pregnant mother has sitting at the gorilla concave, and how the gorilla responds when a mother's feeding or she's pregnant. Nature understands. So there's a interesting study, the studies towards animals and the positive impacts that animals are having on humans is expanding time. If you've noticed that when a dog looks at you, you actually are receiving unconditional love, as Pranav and Komal focused in their talks. Dogs fall much more easily in love than humans do because of their unconditional love. And they also, as I mentioned, move on a lot easier than we do as well. The studies of dogs has expanded over decades, and science has proven that when a dog and a human look into each other's eyes, that the love hormone, oxytocin levels increase. And this heals us. This removes stress. It can create such a chemical transformation inside of us. And when they did this study, they noticed that it was the oxytocin levels were increasing both in the dog and the human. So I've talked about protection. I've talked about love. Grief is a very powerful way that animals can help us heal. And a very, very dear friend of mine, Padmini Stump, who is co-director of an NGO here in Pune, Mission Possible, is a classic example of how dogs healed a deep and unexpected wound in her life. A few years that she lost her son suddenly. And each of us can imagine the grief and trauma such a change can create in life. Not long after this tragedy, a little puppy came to her house. And there began a very, very extraordinary story of healing for her, and also a great service to humanity that her and Dr. Ravi Kasbaker are doing. Mrs. Stump shared with me that without this divine, natural intervention, she feared she may have never surfaced from her depression. Through the love of this little puppy began this NGO, and it began a bridge between herself to heal and for many, 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 many thousands of dogs to be taken care of, found homes, and spread this joy, spread this message of love and connection that animals bring to our lives. And it happens step by step. Among us, we could create a rich dialogue on how dogs, cats, birds, cows, our beautiful dogs that are on the streets here in India, how the entire nature can change our lives. And how is this possible? Let's think about this. Animals coexist. They carry the innate understanding of what their needs are, and they go about their business meeting those needs, but without disturbing the natural balance on this planet. As I mentioned, animals don't carry expectations the way we do, and they don't stay stuck and carry their burden of their stories. For example, my dog, Sasha and Lulu, I've just realized that every time I give them one of these vegetable bones, and if one of them leaves it, the other one comes in and quickly steals it. And then the other one looks and starts growling, and they have a spat. They like fake fight it out with lots of noise. But then the next moment, they're both like Sasha's licking Lulu's face and she's looking very demure and like apologetic. So they move on and they understand. Animals are being welcomed into therapy and rehabilitation for the mentally and physically well-being of humans. I just saw a beautiful video recently of a horse that visits a hospice for the dying, and that this horse is having this unspoken communication of love that is happening between the patients and the horse was so touching to watch. I mean, how does this happen? It is all unspoken. Animals give humans the blessing of companionship. They're fun. They provide unconditional listening. The value of having pets in our lives teach us to live selflessly for another, as Pranav mentioned. In life, we're all looking for evidence that we're loved, appreciated, and valued. And these strokes of giving and receiving played out beautifully between the human and animal realms. I had a friend who was swimming in the ocean alone, out very, very deep, and a dolphin was playing around him, and he wouldn't leave. The dolphin wouldn't, and it looked like the dolphin was wanting attention. So this person looked around. There was a shark, a white pointer, which is not good news. That wasn't too far away. And the dog was coming in between the shark and this person. And then eventually the shark lost interest and went on its way. Not only did the dolphin be in a possible very bad situation, but the dolphin escorted him safely back to the shore. Can anybody explain to me the logic here? It's the unspoken language that we all need to drop into and go deeper inside to learn this beautiful, selfless way of being. There's another story of the famous Italian diver Enzo Loca, who was diving in Greece. And he and his daughter were on a boat. And he was ready to go. And he actually entered and felt something hit his back. And he turned and he saw a dolphin. He realized that the dolphin did not want to play, but to express something. So the animal went down into the ocean and Enzo followed. At a depth of about 12 meters, trapped under net, there was another dolphin. Enzo quickly asked his daughter to grab the diving knives, and they rescued her. And she was pregnant. And it was a male, came to Enzo and he pecked him on the cheek. And it was an absolute recognition of gratitude. And both the female and the male went on their way. Again, we need to ask ourselves, listening. Are we listening? How can we expand into global listening and learn from nature? Ask all your friends around you who've got dogs. Daithankar, you're talking about buying a dog. I hope this panel has a big influence on you buying a dog now, because our four-legged pets change us. Their glance, they soften the sharp anger that we feel, and their enthusiasm when we come home is unmatched. That unconditional love and welcoming. So nature's calling out for all of us to stop and listen and pay attention fast. Through mindful awareness, we unite with our basic nature, and because we are all connected, it means that we connect with everything. our life is enhanced, and your purpose, my purpose in being connected to pets adds value and enriches the most vital organs of our body, which is the mind and the heart. Thank you.
Thanks, Medha. I felt like listening to you on and on. I love the story that you shared about the dolphin, the unspoken language. Really, really profound. I have lovely comments for you. She connected with your thoughts beautifully. She mentioned divine natural intervention. And thanks for sharing this. We also have one more comment from Gauri. So true, Medha, about going about fulfilling their needs without harming others and the environment. So you really connected us to a very different level. Thanks, Medha. So I believe it's Komal who's going to take us through her thoughts now. Komal, over to you.
Thank you, Ekktaa. What I understand by grief or depression or anxiety, these feelings in a human being generally are showcased when they lose interest or they lose hope. They start feeling that they are not worthy, they feel worthless. And also then they have, if it aggravates, it goes into suicidal thoughts, etc. And if there is an animal around you, either as your pet or a stray or animal that you connect with, they easily pick this feeling up. They have a very, very natural intuition, God gifted, that whenever there is grief or anxiety in a human being, they would immediately grasp it and would ensure that they are there to give comfort to that particular human being. Also, when a person feels worthless or hopeless and loses interest, if there is a pet in the house, whether it is a cat, a dog, fish, bird, any pet, they make that particular person feel responsible. They make the person realize that I'm here and I depend on you. You have to take care of me. This is one way where the animal shows that I am there for you and you are there for me. We are together. You cannot lose hope. You cannot think that you're worthless. I value you. And there are so many ways that they portray this feeling of theirs and they communicate, like Medha rightly said, they communicate in such an immense way where even though they do not have speech, we so easily can understand and connect to them. Again, if I have to talk about this feeling of grief, anxiety, in the older adult folks in our society, in today's times, all of us are working people, we're all occupied, and the older folks are generally at home, because they are either or because of their age, they prefer to stay home. But there is a lot of time when all kind of people feel very, very anxious. At that time, again, having a pet in your house gives the feeling of complete security, because most of the people feel very, very insecure. The older folks that I'm talking about, they feel insecure. They're alone at home. They don't know what to do at times. There is nothing to do. There is no one to speak to. That is when we have pets who play the most comforting and important role to them. Or that they come sit with them, they engross them in activities, either playing around with them or just petting them. Sometimes, if there is a very good connection between the older adult, and the older adult can actually take the animal out for a walk in case it's a dog, and automatically the person feels refreshed. The person wants to socialize then with people. Their mind is diverted. They don't feel the anxiety anymore, and they do not feel unwanted. Being around pets would always and a positive aura. It would create an aura of complete positivity. So even when a person is under grief, just by looking into the eyes of an animal, you release these emotions, you release these stress-free, happy emotions out. Another example that I would want to give is of fishes. Like Medha said in one of her earlier talks about fish therapy, fish meditation is what she said. This is slightly linked to it. In a lot of houses, there are fishes, fish tanks, or something of that sort, where just by sitting in front of the fish tank and watching the fishes makes you absolutely calm. You automatically forget your anxiety and your stress. Not only looking into a fish tank, even if you're watching a program on, say, Discovery or Animal Planet, where there is something that you're talking about an ocean and fishes swimming, just by that view, that visual itself makes you release all your anxiety. So, nature in the of these beautiful animals, somewhere or the other, tries to maintain the balance of us being positive, uh, stress free, if we also coexist with these species and we consider them part of our society and ensure that both of us share the environment and share this beautiful world together. Thank you. Over to you, Ekktaa.
Thanks, Komal. Thank you so much. Let me bring in everyone here. That was really profound. I really loved the way you spoke about how being around pets can help us take care of our loneliness, but at the same time creating positive aura. I really love that. We also have a wonderful comment from that, Komal. The point is perfect point, Komal. There is an amazing thing on Netflix on similar lines, which says that it's known as Afterlife of Ricky, and it is a must watch. So thanks for sharing that with us. So Pranav, guys, we need to stick to our time because there are a lot many questions that I want to ask you.
Sure.
So Pranav, over to you, and we will leave the room now.
I'll quickly share my thoughts without taking too much time. I think let's look at these four emotions, right? I mean, you have grief, you have stress, anxiety, and depression. And I think if you categorize these four emotions, barring grief, I think the others, if you really ask me, are more or less self-inflicted. I think stress, anxiety, depression are something which we really, as human beings, need to understand, sit back and understand as to how do they really contribute, to our lives. Of course, as I keep on stressing the fact that we are human beings are emotional animals, so we really cannot ignore these emotions, which are going to be there. But I think the point we need to understand is how we can control and tackle these emotions, and how much importance we give to these things, which is essentially going to dictate how we can navigate these emotions. And for that, if you look at animals, right, especially pet animals. So when we talk about, say, for example, grief, I think they are a great source of strength and comfort in difficult times, as Komal nicely pointed out, right? I mean, even if you look at them, right, I mean, the sense of calm and support, or just the comforting feeling that we get through our pets is something which is we really need to look at, and also try and implement, because they are available to us no matter what, right? Without any specific conditions, no expectations whatsoever. They comfort us with their warmth, honesty, love, and passion. So as I mentioned, right, I mean, these are feelings which are many a times, stress, anxiety, and depression, which are self-inflicted or enforced emotions on our minds, which can be avoided if we decide to follow the simple concepts as discussed. One final thing I wanted to quickly stress is, of the three feelings, right? Stress, anxiety, and depression. I think one of the key reasons why we tend to get these feelings is simply because of the need to have more, or thinking of what we have and what we don't. And especially in today's social media age, keep on hearing stories, right? I mean, people simply get depressed because they don't have enough likes to their photo, which begs the question, right? I mean, something has seriously gone wrong. So I think there's a profound learning to be had from animals, on how we can live a content life, which is the need of the hour. The strive to have more and have everything is being us, or is making us go through these different emotions, and it is inadvertently, or impacting our relations, our lives, and emotions, with other, not only people but also other living beings. So finally, I think my point is, it's okay to make peace with what we have, and animals are the best teachers on this particular front, because they are content, and then if they are content, why can't we be content? So over to you, Ekta.
Thanks so much. Animals being the best teachers. How I definitely agree to that, because the way you guys are putting across your thoughts, your experiences, it's definitely making us look at life differently. So thank you so much. Can we, guys? We need to really stick to our time, because there are many questions that I want to ask you. So here goes the next one. I'm going to add that question on the screen so it will be easier for everyone to have a look. And it says, how do pets, animals help us build deeper connections? And can we humans learn some lessons in developing relationships? So I would request Komal to take this over. Komal, followed by Pranav and Medha. So over to you, Komal.
Okay, this is a very, very essential question and a very essential topic that we need to discuss today, looking at the kind of distance that people are maintaining because of the pandemic, but otherwise also people have started to stick social media, sitting next to each other and speaking to each other in person. A lot of these feelings or a lot of emotions that people don't share, or maybe are not really open sharing, or are lacking. That is when I would want to bring in the maybe put forth my as to how animals can help us, or teach us that how can we build deeper connections or relationships. Animals are non-judgmental in nature. They are very, very accepting in nature. Would never with the, oh, look at me, what my life, I hate myself. No, that thought will not even come. They might just become friends together. They share this planet together, and they're meant to be together. It's a very simple exist being judgmental. I would want to
It
bring
looks like we are experiencing some network
a
issues, I
point.
guess. Komal, I guess we are experiencing some network issues and we are losing
Where
you.
I have observed personally that where
I guess we are losing Komal in between. Komal, can you hear us?
Uh,
Pranav, I believe you are next. Would you like to take it over?
Sure, Ekktaa. Yep.
or
Over to you, Pranav.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll quickly, since we're running out of time, just a couple of points, right? I mean, just sharing a couple of stories. I think, some people might have followed the BBC Planet Earth series, where David Attenborough, right? I think, explains, the deep relations that, animals typically develop when they're living, either as, as parents or, as a part of a herd or a pride. I think that's something, a tremendous, a learning that we as humans can learn from. I think, one of the episodes clearly highlights, right? I mean, you have these penguins in this, harsh environment in Antarctica, and it's that time of the year when penguins basically give birth to their kids, and you have like thousands of penguins stranded on this ice covered island or snow covered island, and the harsh environment that plays around around them is something which really opens our minds and hearts to as to what they go through in just essentially taking care of their newborns, and the amount of efforts and the danger that they put themselves in is something which is heartbreaking, but at the same time teaches us tremendous qualities. I'm sure we humans do depict when we talk about our kids or so on, but that's one learning I think which comes to mind when it comes to building deeper relations. When it comes to penguins, I think the father or the mother, it doesn't really matter who it is, right? I mean, both of them take the same or the equal amount of responsibility when it comes to protecting their newborns, and it's not essentially a role of a particular individual to bring food or to take care in the harsh environment. It's something which is shared by the mother or the father, and the amount of danger that they put themselves in just to take care of their newborn is something which teaches us so much about developing these bonds, valuing their relationship with their each other, and that's something which we as humans, if we can just even take a fraction of what they do or what they go through in building these relations, is something it will go a long way in helping us as a humanity to care for each other. There are a number of stories which we can share and look at, but I think the ultimate point is that animals teach tremendously in terms of how we can build relations. Be it pet dogs, be it wild animals. I think we all need to learn from them. That's something which I wanted to quickly share with all of you. Yeah, Ekktaa, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Ekktaa, I can hear you now.
Thanks for that one, Pranav. That was really, really quick. We have a question from from the audience. If one of you could take it, and it says that one question which comes to my mind is the cost and time involved to keep a pet. That's from Sunil Saranjami. So if anyone would like to take that question and help us.
I actually would. I know several people who have been very worried about the responsibilities that go with having it, and it's actually good that people evaluate that. It's very important. However, Sunil, I encourage you to maybe look at the pros and cons of what having a pet, how that pet will impact your life. Our pets can eat what we eat, obviously not spicy food. They can eat what we eat. So I think the cost element can be addressed by sharing our food with them, because food is good for them as well. When I had Sasha at a very young age, I was encouraged by my vet to give her the food that we eat at about 3-4 months. So I think really evaluate the pros and cons of getting it, and the value that that animal will give your life. Everything else will flow naturally after that.
Yeah, Ekta, if I may add to that, I
Sure.
think that's a very valid question, and it's something which is which is a reality. I mean, owning a pet or having a pet, I wouldn't call it owning, but having a pet is a big responsibility. In fact, I think even a bigger responsibility compared to having your own kids, because these pets are really, really dependent on they can't speak, they can't talk, they can't express their emotions the way humans can. So you ideally, no matter how much you want a pet, it's always best to have them, in a phase of your life when you are going to be there for them for that specific period of time. Because their dependency is so much. Me and my wife, we every week, I think, we discuss this topic again and again. When should we have a pet? We are looking forward to having a next dog, but I think we are not in that space right now where we can really devote that much time and care to having a pet. So I think it's something which you should definitely evaluate, as Medha mentioned. But in case if you do take the jump, I think we can rest assured there's nothing like it.
No, absolutely. I could relate to one of my friends who told me, what pet is like a small baby which will never grow. So you've got to be completely taking care of the baby throughout, and you need to be ready for the responsibility. So very well, you put it across very well, Pranav. Thanks, Medha, for your input. I believe, Sunil, you got your answer. So let's move on. Medha and Komal, if you could just, let us know your views, probably very quickly in, 2 minutes, if you don't mind. And the question stays the same, which is there on the screen.
Well, I just want to say that how they help us build connections is you just look in the eyes of a dog and you feel that immediate connection. So I think I would just like to elaborate on that. Take time to connect with the animals and get the answers yourself. I want to restrict elaborating because of our time restrictions.
Thanks for that, Medha. Over to you, Komal. Komal, we had lost you earlier. We couldn't hear you completely. So maybe if you want to wrap it up in 2 minutes and let us know your views on the question, please. I believe there is a lot of network issue at Komal's end. Komal, unfortunately, we are not able to hear you. We're losing you in between.
Sure. I would actually want to summarize this particular that building.
Looks like we are losing Komal. I'm not able to hear Komal at all. Komal, we are unfortunately
Am I audible
you.
now?
Yeah, but the thing is, because of network fluctuation, probably we are missing on the point there. We're not able to get you in between. We're losing it completely. So
I hope I'm audible now.
Yeah, if you could just wrap it up in a minute, please, if you don't mind.
So I would want to wrap up this question by simply saying network issue at Komal's end. Unfortunately, we're not able to hear you. We're saying Am I audible?
So Komal is joining us from Mumbai, and I can see right now the network is taking time from Mumbai to reach down to Pune, I believe. So I am going to quickly move on to the next question, and maybe this is the last question for today. So over to you, Pranav, Medha, because Komal is going to take some time. What can we humans learn from wildlife based on your observations? Because we've been talking about
Audible now?
education. So I would request now, the panel members to go ahead and talk a little bit about wildlife. So if you want, I can
Sure.
put a question, on the screen.
I'll jump in.
Sure. Can you please put yourself on mute?
I just wanted to elaborate on a fantastic study that was done. In 1995, there were wolves introduced into Yellowstone Park in America. And the reason why they were introduced is because actually they were over generations, the wolves were killed because they were perceived as predators. So human beings actually eliminated the problem, but then it interrupted the ecosystem terribly, where other predators were killing the Yellowstone Park, which is a national heritage park. So what they did is they brought about 35 grey wolves from Canada, and they introduced them to Yellowstone Park, and a mind-blowing experiment became very, very successful, where the integration of wolves created a natural order in the ecosystem of the Yellowstone Park. And all the wildlife actually started coming back. The deer, the elk, the bears, the badgers, water bodies. And it was such a valuable lesson about how we cannot live on this planet without animals, because they are pivotal to the paradigm of connection. The microcosm and the macrocosm is completely related. So our conscience is a reminder that we all are responsible for maintaining a healthy planet now and for the future. So that's what I'd like to share right now.
Thank you so much, Medha. I'll just get Pranav. Pranav, over to you.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent question. I think I think three things that pop up in my mind, right? I mean, what can we humans learn from wildlife, right? So first and foremost, if you look at wildlife in general, the one common thread we all find is the tremendous leadership qualities on display. I think leadership is something which if you don't have, especially in a wildlife, a wild environment, it's really difficult to survive. So from lions to wild buffaloes, or from wild dogs to elephants, each pride or a herd can only survive the harsh environment, if they are led with courage, dedication, and focus. So I think leadership is something which we can definitely learn. There are a lot of leadership lessons out there. We have management courses and people, left, right, and center teaching about leadership. But I think if we just simply look at the wildlife, you go to YouTube and see any video, right? Just the way the leadership is on display is something in itself, a great lens for human beings. I think second very interesting point which I wanted to make was a matriarchal environment, right? Because that's something which has really kind of stood out for me. Although when we say a lion is the king of the jungle, it is safe to say that the lion pride essentially thrives on the matriarchal environment that carries them through the highs and lows. We humans, basically pride ourselves on the progress we have made over the last, say, 2,000 years. But in reality, I think we have failed miserably when it comes to acknowledging the enormous role women can play in our society. And just a simple question, right? I mean, you look around and we wonder, right? I mean, why do so many corporates or even governments, right, still shy away from having women leaders. So you look at countries like United States, which are entirely built on the on the I would say base of being a free country. But I think this a country which is so free still find it's difficult to accept a woman as a president. So perhaps, I mean, the point that I'm trying to make is, we all can learn vital aspects from wildlife, where matriarchal systems exist tremendously. They are a key source of success for different groups, which essentially brings love, care, and fight on the table for the survival and expansion of their respective prides or herds. Because ultimately, it's the matriarchal system that takes their prides or herds to the next level and ensures their survival. So there are many other points, but in the interest of time, I think let's move on to Komal.
That was spot on, like the way you connected. Wow. I mean, I could say that you have profound understanding. I believe you have deep research on this wildlife and how it connects to leadership lessons and the way you brought it out. Pranav, fabulous. I loved it. I'm going to get Komal in the room, and I just want to say what Komal can, what insights can Komal give us? So Komal, over to you. You have quick 1 minute. I don't know. Unfortunately, today Komal's network is giving her a lot of visual. We're not able to hear. Can Komal give us? So Komal, over to you. You have a quick 1 minute.
Yes. Point without it. Okay. What I would want to say is when we connecting them with us, we would we need to be brave. We need to learn about any other. They are very vivid nature, resilient.
Unfortunately, we are losing on Komal because of that. We couldn't hear her completely. There is someone in the comment section who mentioned, Shalaka mentioned about she loved the insight into matriarchal systems. So Pranav, I completely concur with that because you brought that point really wonderfully. It's actually a wow. We loved it. Thank you so much for sharing it. So, audience, thanks for connecting with us. You've given us lovely inputs. You've been, there. If you have any feedback and any, suggestions, you can give it to us on in the comment section. We would love to hear from you. And any particular point that you would want to connect and resonate, whatever our panel members mentioned, and you feel that you resonated with those thoughts, please put it in the comment section. We would love to hear. So, we've been having real wonderful understanding from you. The way you have gone ahead and shared about, small elements about how one can heal with animals. Let me quickly conclude, I would say, thanks to all the panel members for sharing your rich experiences, your thoughts, your authentic feelings, and, your emotions with all of us today. Let me tell you what I can understand or relate is learnings can mean any forms. It cannot be just through books. Rather, the whole universe is a classroom. And connecting to nature can actually help a human heal in many ways. The source of nurture, unconditional love, compassion, care, such wonderful emotions can be felt by being around animals. Yes, we always talk about mindful way of living, being in the moment, ability to let go, forgiveness. But to practice in real life, human actually needs to make a lot of conscious efforts. And look at the pets, the way you guys brought across your experience, you put forward your words. I would say pets teach us so beautifully the life lessons. And to add the learnings from wildlife, like resilience, survival of the fittest, being responsible for self, adaptability, courage, bravery. We all need these qualities to win over a lot of hurdles and battles in life. So I would say you guys really got a masterclass of life here. Extremely deep, learnings and way of life, I would say. While I was doing my research, there's another quote that I would say would resonate to my thoughts here, and that would go very well with whatever the way you guys have connected to the nature. I would say the quote is by Frank Lloyd Wright, and he says, "Study nature, love nature, stay close to nature. It will never fail you."
Wonderful.
This is something that definitely stays with me, and you guys have really helped me, helped all the members, the audiences who are listening to us. A very strong message that you gave is connect to the nature. The nature has its own way to help you heal. So thank you so much to the panel members. Let me see if I can get Komal. Komal, if you could hear us, just say this. So, audience, thank you so much for actively participating. Now that we are on the closure, we just have another 2 minutes. So I would request you guys to say a quick one-liner as a closing remark, if you don't mind. And I would request you strict one-liner, please. Over to you, Medha, and then I'll move on to Pranav. And if we could hear Komal, nothing like it. Otherwise, we can go towards the closure.
I just want to say that I think until we can learn to respect and speak to the animal world, we'll never know our true role on this earth.
Very true. Absolutely. I agree with you. Over to you, Pranav.
Yeah, so I think all in all, I think what I want to mention is challenges bring opportunities, and one of the positives that we can really take away is there are tremendous learnings to be had from our fellow animals, fellow living beings, and let's just look at them and try to make our lives better, because they are the best source of inspiration for all of us.
True. Audience, let me tell you, panel members, if we really have the time, we could go another half an hour, 45 minutes talking about this, because they have amazing experience. But we are on the top of the hour. Komal, if you could hear us, you could give us one, a closing remark if you could. I guess Komal is not able to hear us. So, we're losing you, Komal. You are not audible. The network, I guess, at her end is real bad. I'm so sorry for that, Komal. I'm sorry, audience. So, panel members, kindly accept my sincere gratitude, for your valuable time, contributing your thoughts, and helping Tava-Mitram to raise mental health awareness. We at Tava-Mitram highly value your contribution. Thank you so much. So I'm moving on towards the closure. Just to audience, even if you haven't signed up for our My Mental Health, My Priority campaign, you can definitely go ahead and register yourself for this free program. And it is very much on the screen. It says My Mental Health, My Priority. It's a free certification program, and it is very much available on www.tavamitram.org. At the same time, if you really want to contribute your skills, your time, your money to Tava-Mitram, you can definitely be a global digital volunteer. You can go on the website and register yourself. And in case of any queries or questions, you can definitely reach out to us. Our email address is info@tavamitram.in. And at the same time, if you really want to get in touch with Dr. Paras, you can go ahead and write it to Dr. Paras @tavamitram.org. Yes, we have a series of panel discussion this month. Please check the schedule on our website, that is www.tavamitram.org. And let me tell you what, tomorrow is World Mental Health Day. Tomorrow is 10th of October, and we have something really exciting for you in the store. So Dr. Paras and I would be going live at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow, so stay tuned. And let me also tell you, in the evening at 8:30, we also have a musical event. So join us tomorrow at 12:30 as well as in the evening at 8:30. And for updates on this drive, please follow us on our Facebook page and Insta handle Tava-Mitram. You can ultimately also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dr. Paras. So thank you so much, Pranav. Thank you, Medha. Thank you, Komal, for your lovely time. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ekktaa.
Thank you, Ekktaa. Thank you, Medha. Thank you, Komal. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Pranav. Thank
Bye.
you, Komal. We miss you.